fantasy move for a 5-0 team right
That's
there.
right. I'm staying on top of it.
God, I hope Ray didn't win. Adam Thielen's had a great year.
Put it here this time, hopefully. We tried to do it last time.
Now recording on my phone.
Sal commented on our Instagram post.
Do this to yourself.
But it's off the tracks. You know how it goes. It's gonna be a fun one tonight. They're calling. Maybe it's because it's the first trade. It's the first trade of the offseason. So it's the blockbuster trade. The Orlando Magic trade Cole Anthony, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and 4 first-round picks, including the number 16 pick in this year's 2025 NBA draft, for Desmond Bane, who's still just 26 years old. I forget the Richmond, Indiana native is still relatively young. This past year, he averaged 19.2 points per game. He had 6 rebounds, 5 assists. He shot 39% from 3. It'll be a nice addition. The Magic, listen, it kind of feels like they're trying to make moves to win. I think the East is pretty wide open as well. Doesn't look like Giannis is going to get dealt, but you've still got Tatum out. Don't know what the Celtics are going to do. The Pacers, I mean, they'll probably be the favorite going into next season out of the East. The Cavaliers, got a lot of question marks there. And then after that, I mean, the Knicks, they don't even have a coach yet. So there's no telling what's going to happen there. So a lot of teams, I think, are going to make moves like this, especially in the East. But the Magic are still going to have to make moves. I'd like to see them get another ball handler and definitely a big man. So, Rafe, kind of what are you taking here in the early part? This trade happened a couple of hours ago.
Yeah, right
How are
away.
you digesting?
Yeah, right away.
Sorry.
I do like it for Orlando. They've needed offense. They needed another guy that can kind of create alongside Paulo. And Desmond Bane can be that guy. He had a couple big games against the Thunder in the postseason, in that first round. I do agree, though. I do think Orlando still needs a little bit more. Right now, as it stands, I think they could very easily compete for a top 4 seed in the East, especially with Tatum out. And we'll see what some of these other teams do that kind of have big question marks heading to this offseason. Do I think it makes them an East contender? Not necessarily. I don't think they're completely there yet, but this is a good first step in the right direction. But initially, I'm very intrigued with Memphis now. This makes me really want to keep an eye on Memphis, see what they do, because it feels like they can go either way. It feels like they can go full rebuild and try again, which, I mean, we can talk about Ja Morant and kind of what we feel there. I feel like that's probably the best option. Or, I think there's a scenario where they see, again, Scottie Pippen Jr., who had some nice games against the Thunder in that first round. Maybe they see him and say, you know what, he can be our third option. Let's move on from Bane. Let's get some pieces. But more importantly, let's get some draft picks and try to keep building around our 3 that we have now, or I guess 2 with Ja Morant and Triple J. So I could see them going either way. I think they should probably go rebuild. But I'm very interested to see what Memphis does now.
I'm going to disagree with you on the rebuild part because, listen, people can laugh at the Ja Morant quote of "we had him figured out," because before Ja went down with an injury, who you'll never guess, anyways, they were up 22.
Yeah, they're up 20 in that
At
game
that point?
3. Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not sitting here and saying that the Memphis Grizzlies were by any means going to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. They probably would have taken a game. Maybe they would have gotten lucky and it went to 6. But it kind of looked like, hey, let's go make a move here. Well, let's go get a guy or 2 and just see what we can do next season. They'll have now Ja Morant, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Santi Aldama, Jaren Jackson Jr., Zach Edey rotation starting lineup is what it's kind of looking like here. Not a lot of depth on this team, so it feels like they're gonna go rebuild here. But I don't know if they should. It's definitely interesting. I'll be curious to see h how they go about it. It feels like Jaren Jackson Jr. would definitely, be traded. Do you think they would also trade Ja?
I mean, I don't think they ever trade Ja. In my eyes, I think you trade Ja before you trade Jaren Jackson Jr. That's just my opinion because I just think the style of Ja. Look, John Morant's a great player, but he doesn't shoot the three very well, and that's a thing that kind of killed him. You know, when you get into a postseason and you've got teams scheming specifically for you every game, you know, the Thunder went under every screen against John Morant. And it was hard for him to get to what he wants to do, get downhill, get to the rim. He was still able to at times because, you know, he's a great player and he can get to the rim usually at will. But whenever you got a team loading up on that and expecting that and ready for that and going under screens and you're not really making them pay because you can't hit the outside shot, like that's tough for your number one option. Not saying he can't ever get there, and who knows, maybe he comes out next year and he shoots a lot better from three. You know, if he can develop that, I think then absolutely this guy is a guy that can be the number one option on a championship team. But as it stands right now, and the injuries have been an issue, and you know we can talk about how available he's been, and again, I think that's because of his play style. You know, we think about Derrick Rose and kind of when he went down, but that was his play style. You know, is getting to the rim and finishing amongst the big guys and taking a lot of hits and taking a lot of falls. So, you know, I don't know. I I don't think they trade John Morant because of how much he means to the team, how much he means to the fans, how much he means to. I mean, they all love him in Memphis, and for good reason. But in my opinion, I think they should. I think that's see what you can get. Maybe build around Triple J or just go full rebuild and try and find a new star either through the draft or maybe sign one. But I don't know. I haven't really been a John Morant believer. I was a big fan of him coming out of college, but you got to be able to shoot in today's game, especially if you want to be the number one. And I don't know. Maybe he develops it, but I don't know. Right now, I just not a big Ja believer.
I am there with you. I definitely think that at this point in time, Jaren Jackson Jr. is a better player, um, better shooter, and I think that with Ja, you also again, like you said, you have to look at the injury and kind of how many games are you going to be able to get out of Ja Morant. He's missed at least 15 games in every season that he's played, and he hasn't played. I mean, his rookie year was the most games that he's played in his career, 67. So I think that that is definitely worth talking about. Um, but yeah, I think that if do you think if you trade one, you got to trade the other and just full tear it down, or maybe just trade one, take a step back, look at your draft picks, look at all maybe the cap room you've got cleared up. You can go and get a few guys. What does that look like?
Um, I mean, I'm trying to look at ages here on the roster because timeline wise, I mean, I think you don't have to trade the other if you trade one. You've got some young guys that play well. But at the same time, you know, are you going to win with just one of those guys on that roster? Probably not. So if you're going to go with one, I would say go ahead and trade the other as well. But again, I could see them just sticking, like you said, I could see them just sticking here and saying, you know what, we've got some good pieces, we've got some good draft picks now potentially. You got the 16th this year. We'll see. Orlando presumably will be good for the next couple of years, so some of those may be later first in the coming years. But you've got a couple first round draft picks and some drafts coming up, and you can continue to add to the roster. So I think they should go rebuild, but I wouldn't be surprised if they stick, maybe make a couple more moves, but try and compete again this year.
Just looking at CBS here, um, just at around the 16th pick here, what they've got in their mock draft, they've got Nick Clifford originally going to the Magic, but you'll have guys there. Danny Wolf could be good. Noah Nsengu could be good. Him falling that far would be pretty crazy, actually. Thomas Sorber you could get if you want to get a backup big. Will Riley. So there will be guys there at the 16th pick that I think could be impacts year one off the bench. I don't think you're going to get a starter there. I can't imagine you're going to get anyone that's going to be better than Santi Aldama, or even Contavious Caldwell Pope. So I think really you're looking there to probably get a backup guard, or even maybe take a Will Riley there. You trade back. I don't know. I think there's a lot of ways that the Grizzlies can go here. I think there's a lot more as far as who won the trade. We get stuck on that, but if you want to have that conversation, I think there's a lot more places that the Grizzlies can go from this than the Magic. Um, but the thing with that is, and I was talking about this morning, is it was either stay where you're at, be a play-in team every year, probably never really get over that hump, or try and make a move. And this is them trying to make a move, so I'm not going to hate on it. I'm not, maybe it comes back to bite them, but I don't really think first round picks are necessarily all that valuable to playoff teams, anyways, unless you're one guy away, or two guys away. I'm fine with it. So I am curious to see how this plays out. I would say right now, if I had to pick a winner or loser, I would say that the Grizzlies maybe won this trade, but I think that depends on how they go off of this. Are they blowing it up, or are they going to try and add and be maybe a top 4 or 5 seed next season?
Yeah, I think there's so many layers to this. First of all, I would be remiss to say also the Grizzlies in that first round series against the Thunder, they were hurt too. They were missing two guys in that playoff series. So again, you get healthy, could be a completely different team. As far as the trade goes, I agree. I think, Orlando, where you're at right now, I think it's a lot of first round picks, sure. And Brian Windhorst said on ESPN today too, part of that was them getting off the KCP contract. It was such a big contract. Like if they just wanted to offload him, they were probably gonna have to give up first rounds just to do that anyway. So part of that was getting rid of KCP in that trade. Part of it was getting Desmond Bane. So it's a lot of first round picks, face value. But if you're expecting to be good, if you're expecting to be competing, and you are good, they'll end up being late first round picks. I like the move. I think it's a good step. It's a good first step in the direction towards contending. I don't think they're there yet, but it's a good first step. But yeah, as far as who won the trade, who knows? Like you said, it's always, you can always come back to these and say different things throughout different times. As it stands right now, I'll go Orlando. I'll be different. I'll go Orlando just because I think this move, I really like Desmond Bane. I think this move, like I said, is them trending where they need to go.